Now at 9, the Salvation Army hosts its annual Christmas meal for the community. Plus, the city of Neosho partnered with local organizations to hold its annual Christmas dinner.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Cale Chapman. Several organizations came together today to provide meals for those who need them. Some volunteers from the community were able to do some great giving today with the Salvation Army in Joplin. The group hosted a Christmas Day lunch for those in need. The lunch was open to the public and was held from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m.
Without the volunteers, this event would not be possible. We have those that are homebound and cannot get out, close to 300 meals that just went out the door. And so it's an ability to be able to serve and just help and give back to the community and be able to help others who can't help themselves. And that's what a lot of people just want to be able to help, especially during this time of year. It's a season of giving and a season of being able to just bring a little bit of cheer and a little bit of brightness to somebody's day.
The Salvation Army holds Christmas and Thanksgiving meals every year. Local churches KNEO 91.7 FM and the City of Neosho all hosted their 20th annual Community Christmas Dinner today. The event was held in the Neosho Municipal Auditorium, but meal delivery was available upon request. This year, over 500 people received a meal.
Well, I know there's a lot of people that don't have anywhere to go or family to be with, and so I just think it's a great thing for people not to be alone on a holiday, because that can be a really difficult day for a lot of people. So it encourages me to come out and serve and know that I'm making a difference in somebody's holiday season. Give them something to look forward to coming to.
Meals were also delivered to Neosho Fire, Police, and EMT. Today in Monette, Missouri, people were able to receive a Christmas lunch at the First United Methodist Church. People from Monette and the neighboring Pierce City were able to dine in or drive through at the church. The church also ran a gift program for the kids. Some of the organizers included the son and grandson of the founder of the event.
He just eating Christmas dinner one day with our family, had a bunch of food left over, and he knew people that didn't have food, so we just started it the next year. I think we had 12 people that year.
This is our 45th year, and I'm 45 years old. My grandpa started this when I was born, so this is the only Christmas I know.
Organizers say people they use to help don't need help anymore and come to serve food for others in need. Food for the event came from generous donations. It might not be the most jolliest Christmas for Congress this year, as some lawmakers aren't pleased with the passing of the omnibus bill. Fox News correspondent Isaiah Hashney has more with the latest.
Well, Congress may be out for Christmas, but this bill is still causing aftershocks in Washington. In a last-minute dash, Congress approved the massive $1.7 trillion government funding bill, also called the Omnibus. 18 Senate Republicans and 9 House Republicans helped Democrats pass this bill, applauding the $800 billion in defense funding. Democrats taking a victory lap.
Many Senate Republicans knew that this package was a good bipartisan deal. I thank them for their willingness to work together and deliver it for the American people. Let me just close by saying, look, I don't love everything in this bill. Quite frankly, I find these endless increases in defense spending year after year to be appalling.
Others say the bill has a lot of pork, and they blame their colleagues for rushing through this process right before Christmas. Here's Representative Pat Fallon on Sunday Morning Futures.
$3 million for a beef-friendly highway and $3 million for a LGBTQ museum in New York. It was an absolute piece of garbage, and that's why I voted not only no, but hell no.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy already threatening to kill bills sponsored by the Senate Republicans who voted for this omnibus if, that is, he becomes Speaker next year. The ironic part is the very thing lawmakers wanted to avoid happened anyway. Congress had to pass yet another stopgap bill for a week since it's going to take days for this omnibus to reach the president's desk. In Washington, I'm Aisha Hasni, Fox News.
Thousands of migrants in shelters awaiting decision by Supreme Courts over whether Title 42 will be lifted or not. Under health sightings regarding COVID-19, the U.S. policy allows the government to turn away those seeking asylum at the border. Many migrants traveling long ways just for a chance to be let into the U.S. In one border shelter in the city of Juarez, Mexico, migrants celebrate the Christmas season in a candle lighting ceremony, while one resident in El Paso, Texas is spreading holiday cheer to waiting asylum seekers. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. We will take time now to honor this local veteran, Robreno Gomez. A Coffeyville, Kansas native, he served in the Marines in the early 2000s. Gomez was deployed to Japan in 2005 and Iraq in 2006. To Corporal Robreno Gomez, we thank you, a four-state hero. And later in sports, Jacob Leonard takes a look at the pigskin preview of where they knew it or where they blew it. An increasing amount of adults who transitioned into the opposite gender as a child or teenager now want to detransition back. Fox News medical contributor Dr. Mark Siegel has that report.
It was presented both to me and my parents as this is your option to fix things.
Luca Bunny Hine was only 16 years old when she had a double mastectomy and was prescribed cross-sex hormones as part of her transition from female to male. Now, 4 years later, Hine is part of a growing number of young adults who are choosing to detransition. She says she felt pressured by her doctors into medically transitioning in the first place.
Dealing with some of the more underlying issues in depth would have definitely been a better place to start. Seeing that I was clearly a teenager that had mental health issues. I was on psychiatric drugs at the time for depression and anxiety.
The moment you mention trans identity, everything else is forgotten. We're not doing thorough background checks, psychological evaluations. We're not treating suicidality in the way we would normally treat it.
Clinical psychologist Dr. Joseph Burgo says that transition therapy is placed too quickly upon young people without any sort of psychological exploration, and that they are left out in the cold when they decide to detransition.
These kids are put on the fast track and given hormones and all this treatment when they're trans, and when they detrans, there's nothing for them.
A 2021 study from the Institute for Comprehensive Gender Dysphoria Research found that over half of individuals who detransitioned did not receive adequate mental health evaluations before starting their original transition. Laura Becker was 19 years old when she started testosterone treatments before having her breasts removed 7 months later. Now, at 25, she says she regrets the decision to transition.
You're going against your own physiology, and you desperately want it to be a solution.
Becker, who was diagnosed as being autistic as a young child, as well as having a hormonal disorder known as polycystic ovary syndrome, says that her conditions led to what she calls a, quote, more extreme version of adolescence.
I was severely depressed, and it just kept getting more severe as I got older.
There's a lot of ways to relieve pain, mental pain, and we should use that. We should focus on the least invasive first option.
For the minority who do reverse or halt their gender-affirming interventions, a recent York University-led study found a lack of support or clinical care from the medical community. In New York, Dr. Mark Siegel, Fox News.
Holiday breaks from school for your kids can turn into boredom, but health professionals have some tips to keep them busy. Doctors say considering having your children spend more time with family or spend time participating in activities, cooking, and art activities can also make for great family time and teach kids some skills. Watching movies is okay together, but parents should limit screen time and make sure kids are reading as well. Getting outside and ice skating and snowboarding can prove fun for the kids and will allow them to get some exercise in too. Christmas fun events so often focus on the young people, but health experts say don't forget the elderly and seniors during holidays. Mental health experts at Cleveland Clinic say seniors are still dealing with the after effects of social isolation from the pandemic. Appearing sad or bored may be some signs of possible problems. Isolation in seniors can affect their mood, cognitive abilities, and even their blood pressure, blood sugar, or cholesterol. Sam is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, some tips and tricks of what you can do with those unwanted Christmas gifts.
Well, friends, I hope you had a great holiday weekend across the area. The weather cooperated for the most part. Of course, it was cold, but at least we had no major traffic problems in the four-state area due to weather. But that's going to be changing over the next few hours as we go through the forecast. Right now in Seneca, Missouri at Indigo's Guide Casino and Resort, pretty nice night down there. It's cold down there as well, and they even have some snow on the ground as well across our area. Right now on Storm Tracker radar, you can see we have a band of snow now starting to move into the northern sections of our viewing area, and then some sleet and some ice back to the north and west of that. So this is advancing to the south and east. Over the next few hours, conditions are going to start to deteriorate, and the traffic problems may become a little bit problematic as we head through the early morning hours. Right now we're under a winter weather advisory. Temperatures over the last 36 hours, they've been cold. We started in the teens and then dropped down to about 5 this morning, but notice we're starting this upward trend, and that's a good news due to the warm air advection as it's starting to move into our area. The high was 30, but we're actually 32 now. So we're actually setting a high right now. We started out at 5, of course not anywhere close to the normals, nor were we close to the record, 72 back in 2016, and minus 11, that extreme cold Christmas of 1983. Temperatures right now are generally right around freezing or just below, especially up to the north where it's in the 20s. It's above freezing down to the south in Grove and Jay. And if we take a look at the 24-hour change, we're about 10 to 15 degrees warmer tonight than we were last night. So again, we're headed in the right direction. Right now, this is what it feels like. If you factor in the wind, it feels like 21 in Iola, 17 though still at this hour in Stockton and Nevada. Feels like 25 in Commerce and in Webb City. Now the dew points, this is important because dew points are still in the teens. So what that means is as precipitation falls through the atmosphere, the dew points start to increase and the temperature starts to drop, and they're going to meet about in the middle, which means temperatures will be in the mid to upper 20s with the precipitation, and that's why we're concerned about the possibility of a wintry mix. Right now it's 32 in Joplin, southwestern at 7, feels like 26, and the dew point's 14. So the humidity right now is at 48%. So a lot of the precipitation is going to evaporate before it hits the ground. But precip chances over the next few hours, pretty much near 100%. Then it starts to drop off as we head towards the early morning hours. So here's a look at your forecast for tonight. That system will swing through our area overnight into the morning, and temperatures will be in the 20s by tomorrow morning at 7. But notice there's a front that will be sweeping in, and that will start to drop our temperatures back again into the 20s by Monday afternoon. And then that cold air really filters in as we move into Tuesday morning with lows generally right around 10 to 15 degrees across our area by Tuesday. And then Tuesday afternoon, we'll start to see southerly winds and temperatures recovering into the upper 30s to around 40 degrees, which is pretty good news. All right, let's take a look. As we go into Wednesday morning, we'll see lows generally in the 30s across the area. Here's the system that's coming through tonight. That will rapidly pull off to the east, and then the mild air will start to move in from the west and southwest. Along with it, we have a storm system that's going to be impacting us, and that will bring rain back into our forecast as we head towards Thursday and Friday. Here's your 7-day forecast. 29 tomorrow, and then 40 on Tuesday, 55 on Wednesday, and then even warmer on Thursday, with rain chances increasing as we head towards the weekend and the early part of the new year.
And coming up, snow conditions are putting a hold on travel.
Several states are under a state of emergency this Christmas as at least 1 million Americans are under winter weather advisories and warnings. I'm Max Gordon in Hamburg, New York. All of the details coming up.
As another storm system in Alberta is set to batter northern states with more snow from the north, travelers are still not seeing relief. With over 4,500 flights delayed already and over 2,600 cancellations. Fox weather correspondent Max Gordon has more from Hamburg, New York.
From coast to coast, the historic winter weather continues to sweep the country as Christmas celebrations set in. The storm leaving several feet of snow in Buffalo as the death toll continues to climb. New York State Governor Kathy Hochul on Christmas Day urged residents to stay indoors.
It is a devastating experience. I cannot overstate how dangerous the conditions still are. We need people to stay off the roads. Yes, one more day. I know it's Christmas. I know how hard it is.
Several states are under a state of emergency today as at least 1 million Americans are still facing winter weather advisories and warnings, and tens of thousands woke up this Christmas without power. North Carolina, New York, and Ohio are just some of the hardest hit states. The bomb cyclone bringing frigid temperatures and powerful winds causing travel chaos throughout the week. Airlines have canceled thousands of flights as winter weather in the U.S. grows worse. Many travelers are left changing their plans during one of the busiest travel seasons. More than 6,000 flights were canceled just days before Christmas.
I'm actually waiting on my wife to fly our grandkids back from Indianapolis. She sent me a text that said that the plane had been delayed 2 or 3 times already.
This winter blast has trapped some people in their homes, and in some cases, first responders can't even get to people who need help. In Hamburg, New York, Max Gordon, Fox News.
Christmas is meant to be a time of celebration, but it also can bring some issues, especially when you get some gifts you don't want. Shopping experts have some tips to help. You can always ask for receipts from the gift giver so you can make an exchange. You might also be able to arrange a mutual swap with someone else on an unwanted gift. If it's a gift that is rentable, like cameras, tools, or outdoor equipment, consider renting it out. Finally, you may want to donate your gift to charities that can give the gift away to the needy. New home sales are defying expectations in this housing market. The Department of Commerce says new single-family home purchases increased by 5.8% in November. November's median price of a new home was about $471,000, which is up from a year ago, but less than the median price in October. Still, mortgage rates are still almost double of what they were last year. And the National Association of Realtors says existing home sales dropped over 30% this November compared to last year. And up next, how a second grader is going viral online from just his creative dance moves. A California second grader's dance moves have caught the attention of the internet. During a recent Christmas concert, he couldn't contain his vibe. Now that vibe has spread to the masses. Zach Fuentes reports.
This is 8-year-old Jaden Williams tearing up the stage at his elementary school's winter concert in Menlo Park, upstaging his classmates.
I just started dancing. I was feeling the vibe of dancing.
Jaden may sound soft-spoken, but he is anything but shy, busting a move for our cameras the second we asked him. He even attempted to teach me some steps.
Okay, so you didn't learn this in elementary school, right?
No.
The concert that's now made Jaden's dance moves viral happened just before school let out for winter break, and it was a show Jaden says he could not wait for.
I was so excited to do that. I tell my Miss Harrington, my music teacher, when is the winter concert going to start? I was so happy.
That happiness spreading across the feeds of thousands on Instagram, something neither he or his family expected.
His classmate mother actually posted it on her Instagram, and it kind of took off, and she had tagged my wife to it. And it just started going viral from there.
Jaden seems to find happiness and excitement in just about any activity he does, from his artwork
Black Sonic, Gray Sonic,
to playing and watching sports.
Go Niners.
But Jaden's dad, Kirk Williams, says his son's dancing talent and presence have been there for nearly all of his 8 years.
He's been like that since he started walking, man. Everywhere we go, friends' houses, parties, weddings. And he's always he grabs the center of attention.
Despite his ability for entertaining and love for dancing, he has sights set on a different goal when he grows up.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
Be a football player.
In the meantime, he plans to keep on dancing for anyone who will watch. Oh, and while he has the attention of the masses, he does have an important message for his favorite team who's playing Saturday.
Nick Bosa, Debo Samuel. We'll be at the game tomorrow, 49ers. I see you in there.
30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports are coming your way. Coming up, how family members from 5 different generations celebrated Christmas in a church. Family members of 5 generations celebrated Christmas in the church today. The large family with 22 grandchildren gathered together to celebrate Christmas at the First Baptist Church in Pierce City. A few years back, family members realized that the great-great-grandparents' house became too small and have been celebrating Christmas in church ever since. The great-grandmother Deborah Parmley says some family members live out of state, so it's a blessing to have everyone together and bring their homemade foods. The family now has 5 generations celebrating, as the youngest member was born last year.
She was born last Christmas Eve, so when she came to her first Christmas, she was about 1 day, well, she was 1 day old. So, and then my mom, who is the first generation, she'll be turning 76 this year.
We got family in South Carolina, Kansas City, Texas. Yep, they all make it.
The great-grandmother says their family is known in the area as they take up quite a lot of room to seat everybody in church. It's winter season, so that means it's time to layer up and protect yourself. One doctor says the drop in temperature is dangerous, so here's what you need to know to stay warm and dry, and most importantly, away from frostbite.
You don't want to hold on to too much moisture, because don't forget, what is the moisture going to do? Think about it. Because it's where you get moist and the temperature gets below 32, 31 degrees Fahrenheit that it can start to actually freeze and get very cold. So you want to be sure you stay dry.
Dr. Hayes also says if you're going outside, avoid oily moisturizers. As inflation drives interest rates up, companies are struggling to build wind energy projects that they were contracted to do. Correspondent Molly Line has more details.
One major developer is moving to end contracts made with utilities in Massachusetts to build the state's largest approved offshore wind project, Commonwealth Wind. Avangrid had tried for months to renegotiate, filing court documents complaining about unprecedented commodity price increases, interest rate hikes, and supply shortages on the overall viability of the project. Mayflower Wind, another offshore wind project, filed in support, but swiftly sought to reassure the state its project is, quote, viable, despite challenges caused by extraordinary global macroeconomic conditions. Further south, a settlement has been reached between Virginia utility regulators and Dominion Energy's Coastal Virginia offshore wind project, which regulators say will be, quote, among the most expensive sources of power in the entire United States. A performance guarantee has been dropped, which could leave ratepayers covering more, but one commissioner notes costs may also be spread broadly among all in the state who stand to benefit from the clean energy. Some analysts warn
the costs are soaring. Financing costs have probably doubled or tripled in the last 2 years. So this is obviously raising the cost significantly for offshore wind, even despite all of the subsidies being offered.
Avangrid aims to enter the state's next round of bidding in the spring, hoping to keep Commonwealth Wind going. On Cape Cod, Molly Line, Fox News.
Still ahead, how New York residents are helping those in need this Christmas season.
Well, friends, I hope you had a great holiday weekend across the area. The weather cooperated for the most part. Of course, it was cold, but at least we had no major traffic problems in the 4-state area due to weather. But that's going to be changing over the next few hours as we go through the forecast. Right now in Seneca, Missouri at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Pretty nice night down there. It's cold down there as well, and they even have some snow on the ground as well across our area. Right now on Storm Tracker radar, you can see we have a band of snow now starting to move into the northern sections of our viewing area, and then some sleet and some ice back to the north and west of that. So this is advancing to the south and east. Over the next few hours, conditions are going to start to deteriorate, and the traffic problems may become a little bit problematic as we head through the early morning hours. Right now, we're under a winter weather advisory. Temperatures over the last 36 hours, they've been cold. We started in the teens and then dropped down to about 5 this morning, but notice we're starting this upward trend, and that's a good news due to the warm air advection as it's starting to move into our area. The high was 30, but we're actually 32 now. So we're actually setting a high right now. We started out at 5, of course, not anywhere close to the normals, nor were we close to the record, 72 back in 2016, and minus 11, that extreme cold Christmas of 1983. Temperatures right now are generally right around freezing or just below, especially up to the north where it's in the 20s. It's above freezing down to the south in Grove and Jay. And if we take a look at the 24-hour change, we're about 10 to 15 degrees warmer tonight than we were last night. So again, we're headed in the right direction. Right now, this is what it feels like. If you factor in the wind, it feels like 21 in Iola, 17 though still at this hour in Stockton and Nevada. Feels like 25 in Commerce and in Webb City. Now the dew points, this is important because dew points are still in the teens. So what that means is as precipitation falls through the atmosphere, the dew points start to increase and the temperature starts to drop, and they're going to meet about in the middle, which means temperatures will be in the mid to upper 20s with the precipitation, and that's why we're concerned about the possibility of a wintry mix. Right now it's 32 in Joplin, southwestern at 7, feels like 26, and the dew point's 14, so the humidity right now is at 48%. So a lot of the precipitation is going to evaporate before it hits the ground, but precip chances over the next few hours pretty much near 100%. Then it starts to drop off as we head towards the early morning hours. So here's a look at your forecast for tonight. That system will swing through our area overnight into the morning, and temperatures will be in the 20s by tomorrow morning at 7. But notice there's a front that will be sweeping in, and that will start to drop our temperatures back again into the 20s by Monday afternoon. And then that cold air really filters in as we move into Tuesday morning with lows generally right around 10 to 15 degrees across our area by Tuesday. And then Tuesday afternoon, we'll start to see southerly winds and temperatures recovering into the upper 30s to around 40 degrees, which is pretty good news. All right, let's take a look as we go into Wednesday morning. We'll see lows generally in the 30s across our area. Here's the system that's coming through tonight. That will rapidly pull off to the east, and then the mild air will start to move in from the west and southwest. Along with it, we have a storm system that's going to be impacting us, and that will bring rain back into our forecast as we head towards Thursday and Friday. Here's your 7-day forecast. 29 tomorrow, and then 40 on Tuesday, 55 on Wednesday, and then even warmer on Thursday, with rain chances increasing as we head towards the weekend and the early part of the new year.
Coming up in sports, we take a look back at our pigskin preview predictions from this football season. Sports director Jacob Leonard joins us to talk about where he knew it, where we blew it, and all of our predictions after the break. Every fall, we put out our annual Pigskin Preview, and in that preview, we make predictions for high school and college teams from all across the area. That's a tough thing to do, and ultimately, we get some right and we get some wrong, sometimes really wrong. So, here we go. It's where we knew it and where we blew it.
Where we blew it.
The Seneca Indians, I'm not gonna lie, I thought we may have seen the best of them in 2021, but they were even better this fall. We picked them to go 6-3. They finished 8-1 in the regular season, including knocking off top-ranked Lamar. Seneca made it all the way to the Class II state semifinals. They are now 19-7 in their first 2 years under Cody Hilburn with 2 district championships.
Where we knew it.
The Girard Trojans, we picked them to go undefeated in the regular season, and for the second straight year, that is what they did. The Trojans' closest game of the regular season was actually week 1 against Columbus. From there, they drilled everybody, finishing with a 10-1 overall record and their second consecutive regional title.
Where we blew it.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas. I thought they were going to be really good, but they were even better than I thought. We had them in the magazine at 9-2. They went 11-0 in the regular season and won their first MIAA title since 2014. They also made the playoffs, and the team that knocked them out, Ferris State, went on to win the national title.
Where we knew it.
The Missouri Southern Lions, they took a step in the right direction last year. We thought they would take another this year, and they did. The Lions finished with 4 wins this fall in their second full season under head coach Atiba Bradley. It's the first time since 2014 they've won 4 games, and 3 of their losses were by 4 or fewer points. So, Southern, still a program definitely on the way up.
Where we blew it.
We blew it on the Miami War Dogs. We picked Miami to go 3-7. They got things turned around and went 6-4 in the regular season. And not only that, but the War Dogs made the playoffs for the first time in more than a decade.
Where we knew it.
Well, I didn't think there was anybody on Chanute's schedule that could compete with them in the regular season, and that proved to be true. Chanute went 8-0 as we predicted, and their closest game in the regular season was a 15-point win over Pittsburgh.
Comets made it all the way to the regional championship game and finished with a 9-1 overall record.
Where we blew it.
The Quapaw Wildcats, we had them in the preview at 5-5, and they were a lot better than that. Quapaw went 9-1 in the regular season. I said it all year, this was one of my favorite teams to watch this season. They finished with a 10-2 overall record, their first 10-win season since 1995. So there you have it. Of course, there were more where we got it right and wrong. Those are just the ones that stood out most to me. The good news, we'll get another shot at it next fall. We'll be back after this.
During the winter, New York is no stranger to holiday decorations and also homelessness. Fox News chief correspondent Lauren Green reports on the myths and misconceptions on the topic.
The bright lights, the music, the spectacle of New York during the holidays is certainly grand, but there's also the less grand.
Free soup, free soup.
Josiah Haken, leader of the nonprofit City Relief, works tirelessly to dispel the myths about homelessness.
Homelessness in general is sort of like an iceberg, right? We only see the tip. That's what we kind of focus on.
He says the tip is panhandlers, drug and alcohol addicts, as well as mental illness.
The bulk of the iceberg is families and working parents and children.
I realized that the face of homelessness is not what you think all the time.
Deidre Denise is one of those faces. A few years ago, she left an abusive marriage, got a job at a Starbucks, but the hourly wage wasn't enough to pay rent. At Christmas, she found herself in a shelter.
Being homeless at Christmas, especially in my situation, losing everything I had, was a sorrow and a sense of loss and abandonment that I could not measure.
Deidre stayed in this homeless shelter for several months, and each evening she would line up with lots of others and wait for a bed. And for Christmas, she decided to give what little she had, a $5 gift card, to every woman in the shelter.
I gave the women Starbucks cards because I would hear them at night say, I got to go sit in Starbucks today and have oatmeal and a cup of coffee.
A gift card actually can function as rent for like an hour or an hour and a half.
Haken says this Christmas we can all help the homeless by first seeing them as God's image bearers. Like his book title explains, they are our neighbors with no doors.
I would just encourage all of my brothers and sisters in Christ specifically to think about what it looks like for us to be a part of that movement that Jesus started, that movement of compassion that I believe will change the world.
Deidre's life turned around through the kindness and compassion of some of her customers, as well as support from City Relief. In New York, Lauren Green, Fox News.
The amount of giving at toy drives this year is down due to inflation. Donations are lower this year, according to officials at the National Council of Nonprofits. The number of donations went up on Giving Tuesday in November, but the average donation amount went down. Toy drives are being affected. Locations in Detroit, California, Florida, Minnesota, and North Dakota are reporting decreases in giving. Even getting available workers to help nonprofits in toy drives is becoming more difficult. Up next, how a group of caterers are giving away food for those in need. Much of the country is still dealing with bone-chilling temperatures and, in some places like Grand Rapids, Michigan, blizzard conditions. When the storm hit Friday, reporter Doug Reardon ran into folks with a catering company braving the blowing snow to give meals to those in need.
When we get into a situation like this where it's danger all across the board, people tend to think, and maybe rightfully so, what does this mean for me? Well, today we met a pair of guys who thought about what this meant for other people, those who have less than they do. We've got to give a shout out to Distinctive Catering right up the road here from Mel Trotter. We didn't plan anything with them. We didn't tell them to come out here and meet us. We were just out here covering the snow when they pulled up, and this is what happened.
We made meatballs with a nice tomato sauce, nice and hot. Guadalupe, and that's Ron. And so we fill these bags up with hot food, but it's not me. It's all of us. All of us do it together. You know what I'm saying? It's not me. I take no credit for it. Like, we all do it together. This is our first run. We got to make 2 more runs. Chicken pot pie ham. Chicken pot pie, my man. Chicken pot pie. You got a fork? Of course I do. Makes your belly full, doesn't it?
That's fair.
That's it.
That's fair.
Everyone deserves a hot meal. Any time of the day, any winter, everyone. You hungry? Are you guys hungry? I got you, my man. Here you go, my man. Happy holidays. I like your gold buttons. Thank you. If it wasn't for anyone, no one would eat. You know, right? Like, I've been out here, you know what I'm saying? But we do it together. We make something out of nothing, right? All right, got it? Oh, yeah. Hey, Merry Christmas, everyone, guys. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
And for those who are in need of food or housing or any other non-emergency assistance, the United Way has opened up their 211 number. All you have to do is call or text 211 and someone will be in touch with you if you do need help.
Well, that's
Great
awesome.
story. That's a great story. I guess we should be thankful for the little snow that we got compared to the blizzard that they had up there.
That's
We
true.
are going to have a little bit more snow tonight and a mixture as we head into the overnight and early morning hours. Doesn't look to be a major problem, but then tomorrow, 29 degrees for the high and then turning cold tomorrow night, 10. But we do start a warming trend as we head through the forecast. Rain on Thursday and Friday into Saturday. And as we start off the new year, looks like temperatures are going to be mild. And then yet maybe another weak little system late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. But at this point, it doesn't look like a major system as well. So there is hope on the horizon.
Well, there we go. I'd like to hear it. Well, that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of Arctic wolves enjoying a white Christmas at a Canada zoo. We'll see you back here next time. Thanks for making us a part of your night.